Hey everyone, I'm Alexandra. I'm a community educator here at Vetri Community Partnership. And because we're in the middle of the winter months and it's so cold outside, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things to do at home, which is making our own veggie stock. And making your own veggie stock at home is a really simple and easy way to save money, get some added nutrition in our meals, and just reuse things that otherwise might end up in the trash. So today we're going to be using some classic vegetables for making stock. We got carrots, onions, some garlic heads that are just cut in half, and then some celery. You can really use whatever kind of vegetable scraps you have at home. These are what I like to use when I'm making stock at home. If I'm ever cooking anything, really, I'll just save my vegetable scraps, my peels. Even things like the skins from onions are great in stock. And when I'm saving those, I always make sure to put them in a freezer bag, just so I maintain that freshness and don't have to worry about my veggie scraps going bad. I throw them all in a freezer bag, put them right in the freezer, and then when I'm ready to make stock, they can just go right in my stock pot. We're also going to be adding some dry bay leaves, just to add a little bit of extra flavor. Whatever you have can go in. Super customizable recipe. The only thing that we would make a note about that you might not want to include are cruciferous vegetables. So that's things like maybe broccoli stems, cabbage, things like that might make your broth a little more bitter. And another note is red onion peels might make your stock turn pink, which isn't a bad thing, but just something to keep in mind. So today we're going to be making veggie stock, but it's important to keep in mind that you could do this with meat. If you have any meat bones or carcasses laying around, it's a great time to do this after Thanksgiving when you got that whole turkey. Just throw it in a stock pot and you're going to have some delicious turkey stock. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to find the biggest pot you can find in your kitchen, and you're going to fill it with a lot of water, like more than you probably think you need, because you want to kind of double the amount of water. We're going to be simmering it for a while. And we really want that flavor to concentrate. So we got a lot of water in here. We got our vegetables. They don't have to look pretty. They're just roughly chopped. And that can all go in there. It's all going to get cooked and just add flavor. So we're not really worried about how it looks. And also, we're not really adding any oil or salt right now. You can add those seasonings later if you want. But right now, we're just focused on our vegetables. So my water's looking hot. I'm going to go in with these guys. Okay, all going in. And our veggie scraps get awesome. And we're just gonna let this, like I said earlier, we're just gonna let it simmer for a while. First, we're gonna bring it to a boil to get it nice and hot. And then we're gonna turn down the temperature a little bit. And you can just let this hang out for a while, totally uncovered, because we want it to concentrate again. And what we're gonna end up with is a super flavorful base that we can use for soups. We can use it in sauces. We can use it to cook rice. Really any dishes that we just kind of want to add a boost of flavor to. This stock is going to be great in. Okay, so we're back. It's been about 2 hours that our stock has been simmering. And you don't necessarily need to go that long. There's no real set time. You could go all day, really, if you put this in a crock pot. But I'm taking a look at ours. It's got a really nice color. It's smelling really good. The whole kitchen smells wonderful. It smells like really comforting. So I'm saying this is time for us to get some of our bigger veggie scraps out of here. I'm gonna fish them out and put them in our compost bowl. I'm gonna pour our broth into a large vessel, and I've got a fine mesh strainer that's just gonna catch some of those smaller pieces. And ideally, we would let this cool down a little bit first, just to, prevent from burning ourselves or melting anything, but it's looking pretty good right now, so I'm just gonna move right along. And you could use tongs or a spoon to do this, but I got this fancy tool, and we got a lot of veggies in here. So I'm just gonna carefully strain them out. Okay. So right now, I've just got a few more things in there. I think I'll make one more pass. And then I think the rest are good to go through our fine mesh strainer. And I'm gonna start with a ladle, just to make it easier for myself, because this thing is a little It's a little cumbersome and heavy. And you see it's got a really beautiful color. It's like an amber color. I think I can pick it up. Okay. So we got a little bit more in there. As you can see, we made a lot of stock. This is one of the beautiful things about making your own stock at home. We started with just a few vegetable scraps, and here we got almost 6 liters of stock, plus more. And the next step would just be to put it into our containers. And if I was gonna make soup today, I don't need to worry about freezing it. I can just put it into the refrigerator until I'm ready to actually make my soup. I can go right in. If I'm thinking about making soup later this week or next month or whenever I want to have soup, I'm going to put it into one of these quart containers, just like takeout containers. You could use a mason jar. You could even use a freezer bag. And I'm just going to make sure to label it to remind myself when I put it in the freezer and just stick it right in. Then I have it for whenever I need it. Okay, so our soup is strained. We got it all right here in this container. As you can see, it's still a little hot. There's some steam coming off of it, but it's time to taste now. So I typically, in a lot of our recipes, we say salt to taste. That applies here too. As I mentioned earlier, we haven't added any salt yet. So if you're home and you're making this, I would just add salt at the end, just stir it up, take a little taste, add some more if you think it needs it. But that's another great thing about this recipe is that you can salt it to your own desire and keep it low sodium if you prefer. But I'm gonna go in and take a little taste first, pre-salt. I think it's tasting really good. It's like really comforting, like I said. I can taste the herbs. I can taste the garlic and the onions, those allium notes. And I think it's gonna be really good in soup, which we're gonna make later. So if you wanna stay tuned for that, we are going to be eventually taking this stock and making some kind of soup out of it. And we'll be making a video that you can catch if you wanna like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.